Okay, I'm about to give some very unpopular opinions on the COVID. So if you can handle cold-heartedness, stay tuned. I don't. I'm not sure that the correct thing to do here is to put everyone into isolation. Obviously, the world has become a cesspool and it's cleaning itself. Viruses aren't living things, they're more like something that causes a mutation. It's more about fixing the problem that's here. And this goes back to survival of the fittest and everything. And there's too many humans on the planet. Now, a lot of humans, I think probably most humans, think that they're the best thing on the planet. Either they do subconsciously or blatantly. But we're not the most important thing. Like, I've heard people talk about this is happening because we don't respect the decay and everything. We don't respect life, and we've caused so much like decay and gross disgust just by our discharge of garbage and pollution. But there's something that's living on that too. The black mold, the gross funguses, the all of that stuff. That life is just as valuable as ours. I have this whole vegan thing where I find being a vegan is very hypocritical because, first of all, I shouldn't be talking about. I shouldn't be going to because we start off drinking milk, and there are smaller things on our food that we don't see that we do eat that are microorganisms. Some are small bugs. These things are ingested all the time. I could never be so bold as to make the distinction of which life form is more valuable. In fact, why would a piece of produce be less valuable than an animal? What makes it less worthy of life? It all goes back to humans thinking that they're the greater power and anything that is closely related to them has more value. It's not true. In my opinion, rocks are just everything on this planet is just as valuable as anything else, even the plastic that we've created. It all has its purpose. So, I believe we're creating this bubble boy universe. So all of these movies that we see it's kind of like Black Mirror stuff where you see people in isolation and that is your way of life. But what would happen here is that the strongest would survive. It does attack people who have I think I heard diabetes, and the most horrible thing about all of this is I haven't been really paying much attention to the news or watching the news but what I do know is that humans are not supposed to be in the situation that they are. It's kind of like in Africa where borders are put, where people can't migrate. The land that they live on doesn't sustain food. You're supposed to be able to migrate, but you can't because of religion and politics. That is a human evil. We're doing this to ourselves. But humans can survive this if we let them be the strongest ones. If we let the strongest ones live. Because that's what's happening. Strong people do survive. It's sad that people die. It's horrible. But the bigger picture is that we can't survive if we can't survive in without a new reality. Like, do you really want to live in a bubble with a computer screen? Do you not want to be able to hug anyone? Because isolating yourself, it's kind of like that child who is in a house where his parents cover everything in bleach and they're afraid of everything and they shelter them from the evils in the world so they know nothing. That child can't survive in the world. We've seen that as an example. We've seen kids that have no immune system. And that's by isolating everyone, that's what we're doing. We're making the world weak. It's the demise of humanity, locking us away, making us communicate through computer screens. And listen, I should be the last person saying this because 80% of my communication is through computer screens. Maybe 90. The other 10 is me going to a toy store. And people don't usually talk to me. They usually think I'm a perverted shoplifter. And maybe I am. My ideas are definitely perverse. And as much as I am this cold person, the reality is when I do have social contact, I want to be able to hug someone. I don't want to have to stand 6 feet away. I don't want to have to be afraid. Everyone is going to be living in fear. Everyone is going to be staying away. People are saying how gross handshakes are. Handshakes aren't gross. There's nothing vile about human contact. The whole point of us adapting a handshake was to make that connection. Like, touch is so important, and that's two hands coming together. So when I hear people talking about, oh, handshakes are really gross anyway, and I actually don't handshake people only because of the more business connotations that they have. I go in for the hug. And I think I refuse to. I don't mind dying if I'm going to have to live in a world where people aren't able to hug one another as much as I don't. As much as I don't have human contact, I know how important it is to people. Something I do see that, okay, so that I'm done. That's it. That's my total rant. But on a personal level, I've really noticed how families and the connections of families together, it's not something I'm not at home with my family, but I think that's really awesome how families are together. And for the most part, I don't think they're fighting. If you're fighting, please let me know. I think families are getting along, and that's really nice. And there is a lot of positive stuff here that it is bringing us. It's showing me what's important. I think it's showing other people what's important and what we take for granted. But we have to continue to touch one another.